Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I just want to talk about my personal top 12 favorite horror movies of all time. Hey guys, welcome back. Like I said, I just want to get into talking about my personal favorite top 12 horror films of all time. These are going to be in no particular order, but I figured with Halloween right around the corner, as I'm recording this, I'm still in the month of September, so October will be starting up here soon with, I've already seen Halloween decorations in stores, and so I figured might as well do a top 12 video of just some of my favorite horror movies. Obviously, this list is my opinion. There are some movies that I might be forgetting, or, 2 weeks from now, I might take one off and add another one. I don't know. So, yeah, I'm just going to jump right into it. But again, in no particular order, the first one up I have here is Hellraiser. This is the original movie, the first one, I should say. And there is just something about this movie that I really do enjoy. I don't really know, I can't really put my finger on exactly why I really like this movie, but I think it's just the concept of it. I think it's just such a fun concept. But yeah, this is one that I remember when I was first getting into horror, this is one that I kind of pushed off for a while, mainly because it just didn't seem up my alley. I was really into slasher films when I first really got into horror, but once I saw this, I just knew that it was going to be one of those that I would forever like. The next one here, this might surprise some people, but this is kind of like a, almost like a guilty pleasure film of mine. But I absolutely love this movie, and that is Resident Evil. I love this series. I know they're bad. I know they're not fantastically made movies, and I know they're not accurate to the video games, but I love this series. I think it's just so much fun. I love the idea of the whole underground lab and just everything that's, goes on down there. I think it's such a fun concept, but yeah, this is just one that I really do enjoy, and I've seen multiple times now, and every time I see it, I just like it even more. The next one here is from Alfred Hitchcock, and that is Psycho. So obviously, if you are a fan of horror, or just a fan of film, you've probably seen this movie. This is a staple in, or a, landmark of cinema. And it's wild to me that he made this so late in his career. After having such a successful career, he still, put out a few more hits like Psycho or The Birds or Vertigo. But yeah, I really do enjoy this. This is one of the movies that, again, when I was first getting into horror, this is one that was on my radar, but I was never really allowed to watch horror movies growing up, and so this is one that was kind of always a monument that I wanted to eventually go see. And so I'm very excited that I can say that I have seen Psycho now, and it is one of my favorites. The next one, this is one that I saw very early on within my horror journey, and yeah, I can't say too much about it, but it's from 1931, and that is the original Frankenstein movie. Obviously, this is all of the Frankenstein movies, but I'm talking about the first one. There's just something so, I don't know, unsettling about the first film of Frankenstein. I love the story. I think the story is just fantastic. It's not, I don't think it's too long. I'm pretty sure it's an hour and a half, maybe even shorter than that. But one of the scenes that will always stick with me is when the little girl is kind of throwing flowers into the lake or pond or whatever it was, and she's, Frankenstein kind of comes out of the weeds, and she sees him, and so she starts showing him that she's throwing flowers, and then Frankenstein, he thinks it's funny, and so he not Frankenstein, Frankenstein's monster, I'm sorry, he kind of picks her up and he throws her in. And so, yeah. But it's just one of those films that will forever be like, you know, stuck in the back of my mind as one of my all-time favorite horror movies. The next one up here, this is, I guess, going along with the black and white theme for the last two movies, but that is the 1968 version of Night of the Living Dead. Obviously, this is a groundbreaking film for multiple reasons, but me and my wife, we went to a concert in Pennsylvania, and we stopped in at, there's a Night of the Living Dead museum. It was very tiny. There was, you know, we walked through the whole thing in maybe 20 minutes, if that. But right around in that area is where they filmed the graveyard scene. And so you could actually go visit the graveyard and the tombstone where, you know, that was all filmed. And if I have a photo, I'll throw it up on the screen. But yeah, this is just one of those films that I always loved. I don't know. I think it's just, I like that it's kind of like the start of a whole genre of film, and it's very groundbreaking, and I just, yeah, I really do love it. The next one here, this is going to be a no surprise to any horror fan. It's definitely one that I think everyone has seen by now, and I try to watch it at least once a year, if not more, and that is the original Halloween. This is just one of those movies that I feel like any horror fan should have on their list. It was kind of like the start of a huge shift in horror, and yeah, I absolutely love it. I love everything about it. I love even, I mean, the sequels never quite hit the same high as this one, although I do like a lot of the sequels, but this film, it just kind of set the groundwork for what, you know, will eventually be the slasher genre. And the next one that I have is not only one of my favorite horror movies of all time, but it is one of my favorite movies in general of all time. And it's directed by my favorite director of all time, Stanley Kubrick, and by now you should know what I'm talking about, and that is the film The Shining. This is one that I've lost count of how many times I've seen. I have just watched it, and it's just perfect. It's honestly one of my favorite, I mean, like I said, it's one of my favorite films of all time, and in my opinion, it's pretty much a perfect film. There's just so much to it. Do I think that there is as much to it as the documentary Room 237 said it was? No, I don't think there's that much conspiracy to the film. I think it's just, I think that documentary is a little crazy. But yeah, The Shining is by far one of my all-time favorites. And the next one here, this one might surprise a few people, that one of my favorite horror movies of all time is The Evil Dead, and not The Evil Dead 2. I do really like The Evil Dead 2, but there is something so cheap about the first movie, cheap and kind of creative, because I know they were working with just, you know, fractions of what the second movie had as far as budget. But yeah, Evil Dead, the first one, there's just something nostalgic about it that I really do love, and it's one that, again, I try to watch at least once a year, but it's so much fun, and I'm so happy that we have a nice 4K of the film. But yeah, it's just, I absolutely love this movie. And the next movie that I have here, this is one that some people consider to be horror and some people don't. I personally consider it to be horror just because it has every element that a horror movie does, or that would have, and that is the film Jaws. This is one that I saw pretty early on in my life, and it's one that I can revisit, and every single time I revisit it, I have so much fun. Even though I know how it ends, it's just one of those that I can, you know, still really enjoy, and just, I mean, the music, the acting, this story, I mean, Steven Spielberg's little magical touch to the film, it just, everything works so well. And I even know the mechanical failures of the shark really helped the story. So it's just, I really do, I do enjoy Jaws. And the next one, this is another one that shouldn't be a surprise by any horror fan. But that is the film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I really wish I had the second sight 4K of this film, but for now I just have the Blu-ray, which is fine. But yeah, this is another one that I think it just kind of shows what you can do, much like Evil Dead, but what you can do, or Halloween too, but what you can really do with like a small budget. I know this movie, I mean, it was shot on 16mm film, you know, it's kind of just a bunch of guys just making a movie in a house in Texas, and the creativity and it just really, I don't know, it feels almost like a documentary, which is kind of terrifying, but I do really like this film, and I honestly like some of the sequels. A lot of people don't, but some of them, not all of them, some of them are pretty fun, and even honestly the remake from 2006. 2003? I'm not sure. I can't remember what year there was a remake. I think it was 2006. I could be mistaken on that. But yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is definitely a fantastic one. And the last one that I have here, this is one that when I was younger, I asked my dad what was the scariest movie he ever saw. And he wasn't, I mean, he doesn't like horror movies at all in the slightest. And he saw the movie that I'm about to talk about. He saw it in theaters, and he said that it scared him, so badly in the movie theater. And I wish that I could have seen this in the theater, because that would have been really cool. And so growing up, like I said, I wasn't really allowed watching a lot of horror movies, but I was always trying to watch this particular film. And so I eventually got a copy, and I was so excited to watch it. And it was kind of like such a crowning achievement for me as a movie lover at the time. I mean, I was very young, but that is the film Alien. This is a movie that I have seen so many times. I honestly lost count of how many times I've seen this movie, but I absolutely love it. I think it blends sci-fi and horror perfectly. I love the story. It's so simple, but yeah. This is also another one of them, another film that is one of my all-time favorite movies, not only horror, but also just favorite in general. So it's one that I will just forever just be rewatching. And yeah, I'm very glad that there is a nice 4K of that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate everybody who takes the time to watch this video and comment. I am curious, what are some of your favorite horror movies of all time? Obviously, there are a lot more horror movies that I could have added to my top 12, but I'm trying to stick with just 12. I don't know why I picked 12, it's just a random number, but based off of what I have, is there any recommendations that you guys would have that I should check out? I would love to chat with you guys in the comments, but as always guys, I do also have an Instagram. It's Kyle's Movie Collection over on Instagram. Follow me there just to see some posts of things that I pick up and stuff if you are interested in that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.